You're listening to the LifeStruction with Eric podcast. Pardon our dust. We are about to build greatness. Let's go! The LifeStruction with Eric podcast was designed to inspire individuals to make the choice to detach themselves from any and everything that has torn at their infrastructure and no longer grant access to their past. We provide the tools to create your own unique blueprint so you can live life according to your own uniqueness. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be at in the world today. I'm grateful for you taking the time to tap in. Welcome to the LifeStruction with Eric podcast. I am your host, Eric. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you will get that notification when we add a new video. If you're listening on Anchor, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe. So, LifeStruction fam, you guys know God is always blessing me through divine connection with some amazing guests from all over the country. And today I'm beyond excited to be able to chat with Miss Shalon Barnett, who is an international speaker, successful entrepreneur, and of course, a published author. Yes, sir. Shalon's personal story is the driving force behind her commitment to coach and mentor others beyond the choices and situations of their past. She has faced the emotional impact of financial loss, the lack of identity, abandonment, incarceration, and areas of abuse. And today, as a certified reinvention coach, she helps women reinvent their lives. Yeesh. Beautiful. I love the story. I love the story. So at this time, let's take the time and welcome Miss Shalon to the LifeStruction platform. Welcome, Shalon. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come on and chat with me today. I'm very excited. You came highly recommended. When Latasha hit me up and she was like, I have someone for your show. You have to have her on your podcast. She's doing great work. You know, her story aligns with the LifeStruction brand. And then she took and said, she's funny. And I was like, say no more. Give me her contact information. And of course, get the rest. So let's jump right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what exactly it is you do, and what's your why behind it.
So my name is Shalon Barnett, and I'm from Tampa, Florida. I'm a true Floridian. I've lived in Florida all my life.
Okay.
Born and raised. So they used to call us Yankees. So born and raised. I am a mother of two in two different generations. I have a 24-year-old and a 10-year-old. And I have a business. I have a pharmacy, a retail pharmacy, and I also do life coaching. And then I also have a nonprofit called Shalon's Hope, where I provide transitional housing for women in recovery.
Amazing. Well, hey, we have something in common. Yeah, I have a 26-year-old that actually just graduated from pharmacy school.
Oh, wow.
And then we have 13 and 14-year-old. So yeah, we kind of started over too. But hey, they keep us young. They definitely keep us young. So man, your story, and I'm sure you hear it all the time. You don't look like what you've been through.
No.
Abandonment, incarceration,
Mhm.
financial loss. Geesh. Let's talk about this.
Where you want to start?
Oh, that's too funny. Sounds like you have the same story I do.
Yes. So, well, of course, we all have, childhood traumas that we've dealt with, but we don't know their childhood traumas, and we don't know we have trauma, period. So we're making decisions based off of something that happened in the past, and we're not really sure why we're making those decisions. So my journey started, early, very early, 18 actually. But I was a people pleaser. So I wanted to please everybody and just go along with the crowd, just fit in, because I never felt like I was seen or heard or respected. So I'm like, I'm going to buy that from other people. And so I started getting in trouble very early. My first arrest was something small. It was something I did with my friend, but anyways, I took the fall for her, and so I ended up getting arrested, and I went to jail, and I think I spent 24 hours, but those was the best 24 hours I ever had, because it was a time to sit still, read a book, nobody's calling you, there's no stress, and I didn't realize that that's something that I liked. And so I made a habit of actually going back almost every year for something stupid, something small, and just going to jail for 24 hours. And I did that for about 8 years, every year. It's 24 to 48 hours. I knew I was getting out. But then in 2007, I ended up getting arrested for something more serious, and got arrested. But this time they put it on the news. So all that stuff that I was doing small, it was okay. But then once they put it on the news, I thought I was about to lose my mind. And I remember it was right before my 30th birthday. I was saying, this is so embarrassing, because I grew up hearing you're going to be just like your uncle. And he was into robbing and fraud and all of these things. So then now it's like, yes, I was going, but I was going for like driver's license, something silly, something stupid. But to actually get arrested for fraud, it's like not everybody is looking at me like, oh, so now I see how she got this big house, or now I see how she got this or got that or whatever. And so I said, you know what, this is so embarrassing. I am really at the point where I just don't want to live anymore. And so I remember the day clearly. I was sitting on the floor of my kitchen, and I said, today is the day I'm going to end my life. And as I was sitting there crying, through my tears, I got a vision. And the vision was me standing on stage speaking to people. And so when I saw the people, I remembered I had a son. My son was 9 at the time. And I said, I can't do this. What would happen to him? And that was why I got off the floor. So he was my why of getting off the floor at that time. And so I just wanted to basically, that's how Shalon's Hope actually started, because I had to actually become his hope. And so that is how my story started. But even after that, after getting arrested that last time, actually that was the second to last time, because that case I kind of plea out of, and I ended up getting probation. And all of that stuff I did in the past, all of those going back and forth with those driver's license or no insurance, all those points added up and then put me into habitual. And so I got pulled over after that, and I was on probation, and I spent 19 days in jail. And that was actually the turning point of my life, those 19 days.
Wow. It's funny how I was listening to you talking about the 24 hours.
Yes.
But then you talking about the 19 days. And for me, it was 21. And
21 hours?
it was 21 days.
21 days.
Yeah, I did 21 days, and I was like, I'll never go to jail ever again. My wife and I at the time we had split up, so I had nobody to call but my mom. And I was like, well, can y'all just at least put some money on my books so I can get some freaking underwear? Nope, you're gonna learn your lesson. So here I was washing out the same old underwear every night, and eating what I could when they bought it to me, and it was the most. And they came and got me out on my birthday.
It was well, like, at least they came to get you.
It was like, happy birthday. And I was like, I will never go to jail again. Well, I didn't stop doing what I was doing. I just never went to jail again. But yeah, never went to jail again. But still, it still took a lot more to get to the point for me to stop what I was doing. But it's just crazy how we all have that same root of the cause, people pleasing. because that definitely, when I did that self inventory of myself to figure out what was the root of all of this, why
Yeah.
did you even ever get to the point where you started using drugs? And it was people pleasing. It
Yes.
started the root of people pleasing. And it's just, you know, when I see some of, like the teenagers that I'm connected to today, and even adults that's in adulthood, and they still
Mhm.
don't realize that they suffer with the stronghold of people pleasing, and they don't
Yes.
realize that their back keep going up against the wall because of that people pleasing. And I'm like, you need to sit back and do a self inventory and look at what you are doing. You are doing this stuff not because you're happy. You pretty much lost all respect for yourself when you start, when you're walking down that pathway of people pleasing.
Yeah. I don't think I ever knew myself at that time. I think, you grow up and you kind of have everybody else's idea of who you are and what you should do and where you should go. And I grew up in a family where it was like the control was so strong that you kind of just had to listen to be able to please them. So I didn't get to a place where I started learning myself till later on in life. Even after doing the 19 days, I just knew that I was never going to go back. But I have to
Hmm.
tell you, those were the best 19 days of my life.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were, because that was the first time I didn't know what was, I wasn't in control of anything, because remember, this was probation. So I have to wait to go to court. So I don't get a bill. They can't bond me out or anything like that, because I don't get that. I have to wait until it's time for me to go to court. And then I was also in a
Hmm.
different county. So I had to be transferred from one county to another county. So I was not in control. And so it gave me the opportunity to really sit still and let go, because it's like I've been making decisions all my life. And that is how I ended up here. So at that time, it's like, you know what? I don't have control. And it gave me time to really think and quit looking at everybody else as the problem, and really self-reflect and start looking at myself as the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I was going to ask you what pushed you to start to reinvent yourself, but I heard you say that you had that vision of you
Yes.
being on stage. So I'm guessing that was where you decided that you want to be a better person.
No. um, I got the vision, of course, yes, but I didn't understand what the vision meant. But when you're there, you say you were able to call your mom. I didn't have that.
Hmm.
I could call my mom, but I'm just calling her because she ain't got nobody to get me out. So I'm just calling her just to call on the
Uh,
dog,
uh,
right? So
yeah,
at that point, I didn't have anybody to depend on but God. I was like, only God can get me out of this, because I don't know, it was nothing I could do in my own power. But as far as starting to reinvent myself, I just knew that was not my life. That couldn't be my life. I just like, this cannot be life. This cannot, going in and out of jail every year, leaving my son with different people. Like, this cannot be the life. So the journey to reinvent myself is that when I got out, nobody believed anything that I said. Even the police,
of
like, I
course.
was like, I didn't do
Hmm.
anything, but no one believed it. And I was like at a point where it's like, I couldn't get help from anybody because I lied so much. And so I
Hmm.
was like, at the end of the day, only thing I have is my word. And if I've given that up, what else do I have? So I had no choice but to kind of figure out, how am I going to be a better person, be a better mother, be a better daughter, be a better granddaughter. And I just one day decided over time that, I have to make different choices to be able to build that trust back up. And also, stay at home with my son. He needed me more than, the stuff that I was doing outside. So that was how the journey
Right.
started to reinvent myself.
Okay. So once you started to reinvent yourself, what did you start to do different? Um, Kind of, what did you start to diminish out of your life? What did you start to kind of gain? I mean, did you like start to place yourself in front of people that you knew could help you, or did you read books? I mean, what did you start to do differently?
The first thing that I did was I definitely started thinking different. I definitely started like looking at things differently, and not, like I said, not blaming other people for the situations that I was in, but really just started changing how I thought. So that was the first thing that I really changed. A second one was even the way I dress. So I changed the way I dressed, the kind of people that I was hanging around. I started just kind of moving into a different circle and just really walking into whatever that vision that I saw, just being that person very early. So I would say the first thing is definitely your mindset. How you think and look at things definitely has to change, or you'll go back to the same, getting in the same rut again. So that was my first
Yes.
change.
Yeah, I'm definitely a firm believer of that. And like yourself, I'm sure you come in contact with people that they say that they're ready to change, but like us, we were ready to change when our back was up against the wall and we
Mhm.
couldn't get nothing from nobody. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. Y'all don't love me and this and this. But when you really, really start to try to connect with them and see if they'll pour out into you, they have that wall still up, and you're like, they're not ready. It just hurts because people don't understand how much your loved ones are hurting for you,
Mhm.
and you're out there and you don't even realize, each day that you're doing well, like for me, each day that I was out there, doing drugs, I was going further and further towards the grave. It was either going to be the grave
Yeah.
or jail, one of the two.
Right.
And you know and people don't realize how in depth you are hurting, the loved
Yes.
ones, instead of you thinking no one loves you because they just kind of done threw their hands up. It's like, hey, I can't enable you anymore. But on the other hand, you're feeling like, you don't love me because if you did, you'll do this. No, no
Right.
one is going to help you do your dirt. No one's
No.
going to help you. But it just sucks. And most of the time, when you cry out for help, like you said, people don't believe you.
They don't believe you.
So that's when you pretty much have to, and that's what I figured it out myself.
Yeah.
I figured out myself. But once they see you start getting that stability in your life, and they be like, oh, whoa, he's really doing this. He's really doing this. They're still gonna be a little standoffish, but they will entertain your conversation just a
Right.
little bit, just to see if they see any growth in you. So,
Right.
you know, um, with that being said, I just love the compassion that you have, for women. You know, you believe in that no woman should be, without a place to live. In
No.
2016, you created the Shalon's Hope,
Correct.
which is a nonprofit organization to provide residential housing to women who have had a history of abuse, bad relationships, and criminal records. What inspired you to do this? This is just amazing.
So it started out honestly as Shalon's helping other people excel, and it started when I was in jail, because what I didn't share is that when I decided the day I wanted to really end my life, because of the arrest and the business that I was doing, I lost everything like immediately. So I immediately became homeless. So I had to kind of move in with other people, send my son to live with my family, and that went on for a year. And then
Mm,
finally I got an apartment, got a car. My grandfather bought me like this $400 car. It was like it was a mess, but it was a car, right? And I finally got that, and I had a job. I was doing well, and then that's when I got arrested again for the habitual status, and I was on probation. So that's
hmm
when I went to 19 days. So from that, I became homeless again, because when I got out of jail, of course, I lost my job. My little car that I had, they towed it, so I couldn't even afford to get it out, and then I lost my apartment, so I became homeless again. So for 2 years, basically, I was homeless. I didn't have a place of my own. I was living with people on a mattress here, on a couch here, and so once I got myself together, I actually went to my husband at the time. Well, he's my boyfriend at the time, and I just swallowed my pride and I said, "Listen, we travel and we do these things together, but I'm coming back. I'm staying in a foreclosed home with no lights and no water. You know, I really need help. I need to get a place." And so he agreed to help me, and I got a place. But once I got the place, I was able to get myself together. I was able to get my license for real, get a car with insurance for real, and a bank account. Just started getting myself together. And so then I stayed there for about 6 months. And once I got on my feet really good, I said, how do I want to give back? I feel like I have truly been blessed because I came from the bottom, and I'm able to kind of come and meet this guy and build this business with him and become financially stable. How do I want to give back? And that is when Shalon's Hope came back into my mind, and I wanted to be able to provide a house for women, because once I was able to find stable housing, I was able to focus on the stuff that get my life back together. As long as I was staying from pillar to post, I couldn't focus on that, because okay, where am I going to sleep tonight? Is they going to let me in the house? Is there going to be a lot of people over? Am I going to be able to sleep? So all of those things, I was thinking about not having my own place. But once I got my own place, I was able to focus on the things that I needed to get done for me to better my life. And so that's how Shalon's Hope came about. And it started out Shalon's helping other people excel. My friend had a place. She let me use it. And I started just basically, before I even opened it, I was full. So I started getting women from all, and I really wanted to just help women who just kind of needed a helping hand up, went through the same situation I went through. And but once I opened it really good, I started getting a lot of women from the drug treatment facility. And I was like, God, I have never did drugs in my life. I don't understand. What can I help them with? But I knew homeless, I knew helpless, and I knew hopeless. And I said, that's what I can give. And I knew I could provide a place for them to live. And I've been doing it ever since 2016. And that's how that came.
Man, it's just, so you went from being in jail to losing everything, including the job,
correct,
to getting out and basically having a heart to help others, as soon as you started to get on your feet.
yes.
That's just amazing representation of, a big heart, not being selfish, because a lot of people, when you done lost everything, you just don't have the it's just me, and a lot of people, I get asked a lot of times, why are you so compassionate about helping other people? And I'm like, well, first of all, God supposed to took my life way back in like 2000, and then in early 2003, but he bumped my head hard enough in 2003 to give me a second chance, and that's when I took my life seriously. And like you just said about, and that's what LifeStruction is all about. When you are able to see that growth, you talked about getting a job and getting your license back, getting a bank account, all of this stuff that when you're out ripping and running the street, you don't have. I got caught driving on suspended license so many times. Once I got caught twice in one day, and I'm like, the insanity, the out there looking crazy as heck.
Yeah.
Didn't even look. I didn't even look like I had a driver's license, and I'm gonna be behind the wheel. But I mean, it's just the insanity. But you feel so good when you get your license back. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, what, 33 when I finally moved out here from Virginia and started to get my life together. And I remember I had to pay like $3,500 to get my license back. But man, when I got that license and the bank account and all of that stuff, it's just, you just feel like you're part of society again.
Right. Yes. And that's what I wanted to give to the ladies. That's exactly what I wanted to give to them. And so that is pretty much, how the home, and you know what, I have to tell you this, God is so faithful, because the business that I was in, I provided housing, but I provided housing for children in special need kids. And when that door closed, I remember trying to open it. So, I went through everything to try to open that door. And I'm like, God, why would you take this from me? Like, I'm doing such a good deed. I'm taking care of special need kids or whatever. And I was, I thought I was doing a good deed, but it was always purpose. So residential housing was always going to be my purpose. It was just different people that I had to basically cater to. And so I always think back and I say, I was trying to bust this door down to work with these kids with special needs. And God was saying, you're still going to do that, but I need you to go out to these women who are broken, because I need you to go through some things so that I can bring you through so you can help them come through. And so that is how I pretty much got into, working with the women, and I absolutely love it. Love, 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 love it.
Yes. And that was definitely your calling. Definitely your calling. Because God knows, I came out here from Virginia to a halfway house in 2003. And it's a big difference in Shalon's hope with someone having a heart for the people, being behind, that, and going to a halfway house where they just want you to pay that money every week, and they don't care. You can come in there high. They don't even care as long as you. And that's where I was at. And I was like, Lord, I don't know nobody in Arizona. Please bless me where I can make it through this 90-day program. And I'm going to try to get to a little sober living house until I can be able to get my own apartment. And, he blessed me to get there. But it's just a big difference in someone that have a heart for the people and someone that looks at it as just a business.
Yes.
So
that's another thing too, because I got a lot of pushback from the community, because the ones that had homes that I had kind of went in and did groups in, they were always like, well, you never did drugs. How could you do that? And it hurts me sometimes that they were in that situation and you still treat these individuals as if they're less than. And
yeah.
I just can't believe it. But God prepared me for that too, because when I spent those 19 days in jail, that's all I was around was people recovering addicts. And it was so funny because they were telling me they were still in like prescription pad, and I didn't understand like, why did you still, it just would not connect in my brain that what was going on, because I was so disconnected from the world, because I was in my own bubble, hustling, helping everybody. So I was so disconnected from what was really happening in the real world. Like people were struggling and I didn't even know it. Even when I got out and later on, like I said, I have a pharmacy. I made so much money because I didn't know it was hurting people. But once I found out, like, oh my gosh, I'm a part of the problem. How can I turn this around? So even my pharmacy, we do, like Salvation Army, we do the drug treatment facility. Like our whole focus is really helping people get off drugs, not put drugs back on the street, but helping people get off drugs. And I make less doing that, but my whole life is so much more purposeful with doing it that way, because I've never lacked anything.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So, how long are the women allowed to stay at the facility?
Well, it started out to be six months to a year, but everybody's situation is different. And when I think about addiction, I'm no different than someone, in addiction. We all have issues. So now the focus is not how long they can stay, but more like, okay, what is the issue? How can I help them? How can I help them get to the root so that they can really live? Because sometimes you can push people out by saying, okay, well, you only have 6 months to be here. And then their focus is going to be, okay, I only have 6 months. So let me try to save up as much money as I can, because I got to eventually move out. And that's not what I want the focus to be. I want them to really focus on themselves. So I don't have a time limit, but we do have milestones that they would need to take within the time. But I've had people for 4 years.
Wow.
2 years. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you get it when you get it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it definitely, and I get it, because the place that I was at, it depends on, they had this guy and he had been there for about 3 years and he was comfortable being the cook. He was comfortable, everybody else, they went out and got jobs. Excuse me. They had one guy, he was a driver, he drove everybody to work, picked them up, took people to the doctor. But they had this one guy, he was a cook, and he had been there for a while. And I went back there. I haven't gone for like 5 years. I went back there to speak. And who was there? Laying out the table with snacks, still there, but he was happy. He was happy. But it all depends, because it's scary. They're happy, but at the same time, it's scary because what I came to realize once I got a little experience up under my belt, they're scared to approach life on life's terms on the outside of that place. So that's their comfort zone. So they will stay there. And when you don't have anyone that will push you to say, hey, you're better than this. You know,
Right.
you paying these people $600 a month. You can find you, if nothing else, you can find you today, you can find you a room at a
Right.
house, and you can have
Yeah.
your own space, but I mean, but you have to have someone, because one time they accused me of going over there trying to talk the guys to leave, into leaving the place, and I wasn't talking them into leaving the place. I was just trying to get them to realize that they had greatness on the
Right.
inside of them. We all are purpose filled. You just have to figure out what
Yes.
your purpose is in life. But at the same time, don't allow yourself to be imprisoned in a place that people are coming in and out of every day, that reminds yourself of who you were 6 years ago.
Right.
You know, you don't have to do that.
Well,
So
we put stuff in place for that. Like, so yeah, the girl that was there for the 4 years, I did eventually have to, okay, like, all right, now, it's time to, what, we're great friends now, great friends. And she was happy. And
mhm,
she told me,
mhm.
this is how I started learning. Cause she was like, Shalon, you're a great enabler. Because it's like, I look at them as, oh, these are my babies. I don't want to push them out, but sometimes they need the push. But that's why I have stuff in place now to help them through the journey. So you have, someone coming in doing life coaching, and you have someone coming in, doing groups with them, so that they can see other success stories and say, okay, if I really apply all of these things within a certain amount of time, I can move on. I'm ready to move on. And one of the things that they are allowed to do is take their bed when they leave, because if they have to move into an apartment, if they don't have any furniture, at least they'll have a bed to sleep in.
That's awesome. That's good. Man, you're doing some good stuff. I love that. I love it. So do you have a success story of someone that went through the program, and that success story of someone that reinvented themselves and they're doing amazing works today?
Yes, I have a young lady. Actually, I had a luncheon last year, and she spoke at the luncheon. She actually worked very close to Latarsha, which is our life coach that comes in every Tuesday faithfully and work with the ladies on self-love. Well, she was in, her name is Eva. She was there for about 2 years. And she just made a decision that she did not want to go back to the street life. She wanted to get herself together, get her daughter back. And she actually did every single thing that she said she was going to do. And she actually comes in every Thursday to help the other ladies do the same thing that she does. So she ended up getting a job, getting her daughter back, and moving to a little city close to us, where she's able to now live a fulfilled life with her daughter. So
Wow. But that's what I love to hear. And does doesn't it just make you feel just amazing to know that, you took her in and just kind of gave her that blueprint,
mhm.
and she took it and, took the tools that you pretty much suggested and
Yeah.
rebuilt the life that she's happy of. I know
Yes.
that has to make you feel
It was
amazing.
really good because I've had other ones that came through. Some went out, left, and some didn't make it. But I do try to make a point to try to get all of them together at least once a year, so I can at least see where they are and how they're doing. And definitely, the thing is that even though they may leave the home, they don't have to leave me. They always are able to contact me, and stay in contact with me. And if they need anything, I'm always there. So I definitely think this is a big family, and I was glad to be a part of their story in any way that I could be.
That's cool. That's so cool. So let's see. My throat is, let
Sorry.
me drink something real
I know
quick. Sorry
Latasha
about
told you
that.
she told you I was funny, but my humor is really dry humor, so you have to catch it when you catch it.
You know, it's you just shot a couple at me and it went right past me. I'm like, okay, she over there in Florida calling me slow. I read your mind.
Didn't
I
say it.
read your mind. So we both have, a heart for helping rebuild those
Mhm.
broken lives.
Yes.
How hard is it when you connect with that individual, and they pretty much have given up on life, and you see the freedom on the other side of their pain, but they just can't seem to see it. How do you get them to believe in themselves again?
I lead by example. So I have experienced that where you see so much in them, but they just don't see. So I think my first connection is I do share how I even started the home with them. So they kind of have they can see I'm not perfect. My life was not perfect, but I was able to turn it around. So that gives them a little hope in that sense. But I just basically live by example. And the one thing I do is keep my word. If I tell them something, I keep my word and follow through with it. And I'm just there because they need, a lot of people, including family, has really said, you know what, I'm tired of you. I'm done with you. So just to have someone that's there and present and want to know how their day went and want to know what's going on with them, I think that is how I'm able to give them that hope to live at least one more day. And we just take one day at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we all know that sometimes you have to do it, second by second, minute by minute. And,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the night, you just thank God that you made it through that night.
Yeah.
And, once you figure out that you can't worry about what's going to happen Saturday, what's
Mm-mm.
going to happen next week. You just had to do it one day at a time. And once you realize that you start stacking those days on top of each other one day at a time, and you start to see that growth, that's where that self-love comes back, and you start to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that, my brother, God rest his soul, he pretty much, he used and used, and he went in and out of jail, in and out of jail, and he neglected his health. And his kidney started to shut down on him while he was incarcerated. And basically when we found out, pretty much they was just letting us know, hey, this machine is the only thing that's keeping him alive.
Wow.
Once we take him off, he's going to be gone. But anyways, he was in and out of jail, and my brother would be doing great. He would get out, get a job, and the first thing he wanted to do, he loved his clothes. He loved to dress. I get my dressing from him. He definitely helped me dress young. I love to dress. He loved to dress, but one of the things that he was doing was he was so focused on dressing up the outside that he never dealt with his inside. And soon as he got a few outfits, then he wanted to go back to the block, but those same people that was still doing dirt was there. And before you knew it, he was using again. Again. It happened. It just kept happening over and over and over. And it's because he never took the time to deal with the inside.
Right.
It's so easy for us to dress up
Very
the outside, but for someone that really, really know us, they can see right straight through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're dealing with intelligent people, as soon as you open your mouth to speak, the first 30 seconds, they'll be like, oh, he haven't changed, and,
Yeah.
and he failed to realize it, and it took him out. And, I try to share that with some individuals that I come into contact with that I see that's their main focus. They get released from, jail, they get released from a halfway house or what have you. And the first thing they want to do, I'm going to go buy this outfit and I'm going to do this, or, I want an iPhone and I want this. You've been locked up for 20 years. They ain't had no iPhone when you got locked up.
Not at all.
No, don't worry about all of this materialistic stuff. You got to figure out what's going to have this mindset right here, and how it's going to fall in sync with your heart, so you can kind of put a stable life back together. That's the main thing.
But we just have to give grace, because we know, you only can do it when you get it. My mom always said, well, they had a choice. They had a choice. Yeah, you have a choice when you know you have a choice. And sometimes we don't, I didn't know for a long time I didn't have to be in certain relationships and situations. I didn't know. I thought, oh, this is the norm. I was thinking too much of Betty Wright, having a piece of man is better
Right.
than having no man
Right.
at all, So I
Mhm.
didn't know until I really started doing the hard work. And then I was like, oh, I can't accept this. And no, I can't accept that. But, everybody gets it when they get it. And we have to just give grace and pray that they're able to get to that point. And also speak to who they are, not to the person that they're trying to be. So that's what I mean.
Yes. So, Shalon, what words of encouragement can you give to someone that's currently broken, that's listening in?
So don't give up, even though times may feel hard and it seems like, I'm not going to make it. Every day that you wake up, God has purpose for you. And basically just really stay still for a minute and ask him, what will you have for me to do? And he will talk to us as long as we're listening. And let me tell you, God will get our attention one way or another. He's going to get our attention. It's better to listen and move as he say than not, because sometimes we're going to have to go through things to get it, but it's all for purpose. So my words of encouragement would be just I would always say hope, because I believe in hope. So I break hope down as heal. So work on any kind of healing that you need to maybe go through. Work on overcoming that. Sorry. What did you do to my throat? That was fine. We all have purpose, and I don't know what you did to me. Like, you just did something to me. My throat started hurting.
I drink for you.
I need a drink. Where's my assistant? She's gone.
Where's
but yeah, just have hope.
At?
She's gone. Yeah, she's gone. So just have hope. So I break hope down as heal, overcome, purpose, and empowerment. Just we all have to heal from something. Life is not the easiest, but at the end of the day, it's everything we go through. It's not for us. The lessons that we learn are for us. If we understand that that we need to be able to tell our story to someone else and just live by that. And don't think that what you go through is, to kill you. It's just to make us stronger and to be a better person and to fulfill our purpose while we're here.
Yeah, I love it. If you're listening, I hope you wrote that down. Yeah, to sum it up, you can't live a hefty life if you don't heal. And
you can't.
That's very, very important. Very important. So before we go, you and Latasha are hosting the Release the Baggage Conference.
Yes.
In Tampa in November.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we are hosting It's Your Time to Shine conference, and the theme is Release the Baggage. We all have some baggage that we've been holding on to. Mine was pride, and I did not know how to receive, and I had to let that baggage go, because we all need someone in life and we all need help at some point. So we decided to come up with this conference where we can work with other women and men to at least start the healing process. Because sometimes you don't even know your stuff. You're so used to doing things a certain way and moving a certain way. You don't even realize that some of those things that even happened to you earlier in life impacts how you make decisions today. So we wanted to be able to have a safe place where women and men can come to at least express those the baggage that they've been carrying, segue to open it up, and basically hopefully they'll be able to start getting some healing, because in order to live a fulfilled life, you have to start healing those traumas, or it'll control your life.
Yeah man, it's gonna be a good time. I actually saw the IG live that you guys done with Real Talk Kim. That was pretty cool.
She's very real.
Yes, she is. I've followed her a couple of years. I love her. And also Greg, what's his name? Bishop Greg.
Greg Davis out of Atlanta. Yes, he's gonna also be there as well. And then we have, of course, a nice panel. We have some local people. Kimberly Michelle, who's on the flyer that you're showing now, she is local, but she is a powerhouse. She has a very, very good story, powerful story of how she kind of came out of prostitution and turned her life around. So we're just so excited, because when we go through certain things and we make certain decisions, we don't always understand why am I doing this? Why am I Why this
Right.
cannot be
Right.
how it's supposed to be, and me going to jail every
Mm-hmm.
like this is not a life. Like who wants to live like that, be in and out and start over every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that those some underlying traumas of stuff that I heard as a child was really forcing me to make those decisions that I thought I was in control but wasn't in control. So it's really just a way for women and men to be able to open up and start that healing process. So I'm very, very excited that we are hosting, and I can't wait to see the lives that are going to be impacted as we do this conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thank
That's,
God for using me because I'm like, who am I? So I thank him
yeah.
so much for using me. This young girl from the small town I lived in was Zephyr Hills. That's why it's in Florida, but it's only like 35 miles from here. So I say I'm from Tampa because it's the city, but I really was a country girl. And so, he used me to be able to use my voice in so many ways. And the most powerful thing about it is that I had never in a million years thought that I would, travel or go international. Like I didn't think that those were not things that you thought in that small town that was going to happen. And just to see how God was able to use me going back and forth to jail to be able to share that story to give someone else hope that they can and will be able to change their life is just beyond words. Beyond
Yeah.
words.
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer, all of those wrong turns that we took in life for whatever reason, it was in his plan
It
for us to
was.
go through them, but it was also in his plan for us to be able to go back and rescue others that's currently going through that, because
Correct. Yeah.
we all know there are so many people that they take that wrong turn and they just keep on going down that dead end street year after year after year after year because they feel like there's no way out. So
Right.
I applaud you, for being humble enough to tell your story because
Yeah.
there's a lot of us that our pride won't let us tell our stories,
Right.
and that's another reason that I created LifeStruction because you know a lot of the stuff that we talk about up here, you can't talk about it in the church, you
No, they
know.
don't.
So yeah, so that's why that I created, this platform, and that's why I'm always looking for, amazing people that I
Mhm.
know, walk in faith. I know that, God, reinvented them. And in your story, not only do you talk about the pain and hurt that you went through, but one of the key words that you say is God reinvented me,
Yes.
because we have to give him the glory because if it wasn't for him, it definitely wouldn't be no us.
No.
So
Mm-mm.
I just thank God for, you know, um how he's using you today. And, I just pray that everything that you're doing, will, continue to flow, continue to
Yes.
flow. So, I mean, you gave me hope today because one of the things that I want to do is be able to open, a facility, for men, to be able to come into and, because I mean, we have all over Phoenix, you have halfway houses, but it's a difference in a halfway house and a
Mhm.
house that you're actually housing people and actually giving them a blueprint to rebuild their lives, a
Right.
blueprint to be able to be an active part of society, so that's exactly what I'm working towards as well. So you just really encouraged me this evening.
Well, you'll be able to do it because, a lot of times I get asked, how did you do it? And all I can say is I just did it. I just trusted God. And
Hmm.
when I first started, I said, because the people that were doing it around me, they was like, well, this is my fee. I charge this fee or whatever. And I was like, that's a lot, because I remember me, being, I'm like, I couldn't afford that. So, but I do have a program fee, but it's very, very, very small fee. And I've never missed a beat. I've been able to,
Hmm.
meet every bill every month. Like I never missed a beat. And I believe that is because my focus was not to be rich off of it. My purpose was to fulfill
Yeah.
purpose. And I
Right.
think
Right.
so. What my advice to you that want to start, if you know that is what God wants you to do, and He placed that
Hmm.
vision, trust and believe He's going to give you provision for it,
Amen.
and that's how you're going to have to do it.
Amen.
Let me share one more thing. The one I told you at the time my son was 9 when I went through all of this or whatever. And I remember being in jail, and one of the things I wanted to do is create a legacy that he could remember, that he would be proud of. And that is, he is very proud of Shalon's Hope, and that will live on when I'm gone, that will live on. But he left to go to the military Air Force last year, but he's home now, and he just actually brought me the water. He heard me coughing, brought me the water. So
Oh, look at that. Look at
yeah,
that.
I am so proud of him, and I was able to change my life in a way where it put an impact on his life to not follow in the footsteps that I had seen and done, and really took a different path to have a better life. And I'm so proud of him. So I am so grateful for
Yeah.
God using me in that way to be a blessing to him.
Yes. That's
He's home on
amazing.
break.
And he's
Yeah.
did you say 24?
He's 24. He's in the Air Force. He's
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
Italy, but he's home on break now. And they just canceled the flight
Okay.
because of the weather. So he's
Right.
here with me.
Yeah.
So this is a very good one. Thank you for interviewing me and him being able to hear. So
Definitely.
grateful.
Yeah. And it's I just love it. My daughter, my oldest, she's by my from my first wife. And our relationship was kind of rocky
Yeah.
because I was like 12 years old. I was like 12 years old. She was like 12 years old. Um, when me and her mom separated, and then I moved out here, and I had did a lot of harm. Um, but then once I moved out here, we started to, rekindle our relationship about 2 or 3 years afterwards. And, she's just supported me in everything that I've done, especially once she got to the age where she could think on her own, and she started to see, hey, my dad really has changed his life around.
Yeah.
And, we rekindled our relationship. And I mean, she's done some amazing things. You know, going through pharmacy school, there was a few times she was just like, Dad, I don't know. I don't know. And I was like, darling, I promise you, it's going to get better. I promise you it's going to get better.
Mhm.
And just to see how relaxed she is now that she's finally graduated and she's passed, her board exams and stuff. And just to see her put her life together, and it's like I could have kept using drugs and I could have killed myself, and I wouldn't even have been here to see everything that she's put together now. So it's just like that second chance at life, man. Is just you
Yes.
know, I just appreciate each and every day of it. Just appreciate it. People always ask me at work, why in the hell do you smile all the time?
Yes.
you know, and I'm like, only if you knew.
Yes.
Like you said earlier, where you want me to start, and I can tell you
Mm.
why I smile all the time. You know, and it's
Yeah.
just because I'm high on life. I don't have to take drugs today. I'm just high off of life each and every day. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. I
So
understand. I
anything else
understand
for
the feelings. That's it.
yeah.
And then also with healing and anything, addiction, codependency is an everyday is work. It's an everyday thing. So, we don't ever want people to believe that, it's a magic trick and we're healed and everything is okay. It's an
Hmm.
everyday, it's an everyday journey, but it's a journey worth living and worth traveling. Even when you feel like you want to give up, it's definitely very good on this side.
Yes. There it is. There it is. It's definitely good. I wouldn't trade it for nothing
No.
in the world.
I don't even want to pass the jail.
Nothing in the
Like, do I have to pass that? I don't want to. I ain't going back there.
hmm
Not going. And even
Yeah.
when I was there,
I
people would say, "You don't even look like you're supposed to be in here." I'm like, I know I don't.
that's that's what I was saying when I was looking at you. I was like, they probably was saying, they got her in here. She spying on somebody.
They didn't believe I was. I was like, I'm not. Please let me out. Let me out. supposed to be here, but
Mhm.
but I just took responsibility. I was driving around with no license and no insurance. Like I was doing that. So I was there for what I was supposed to be there for.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. Were you living in the small town that you were from when you were getting caught driving with no license? Or you
I
in the
lived here
city?
and I moved to the city. I was in the city,
Okay.
Um, I didn't know bills.
But
Like I couldn't pay insurance. Like that's
but
too high.
still, but still, like for me, but you said you never used drugs. I was so high
Mm-mm.
that I was so high that I was like, they ain't gonna see me today. And it's like, you big dummy, you done got caught by pretty much almost every cop on this side of town. So look, and you ain't nobody on this side of town got a car like you but you. So when they see that car, they automatically looking to see, is it you driving?
I have a question
And
though.
I'm
You said you got pulled over twice in the same day. Did second time did they take you to jail?
They took me the first time.
They took you
The
the first
second
time. You
time
got
they took
and you.
me, fingerprinted me, and let me go. I went back and I looked around. I ain't see nobody.
Oh my
So
god.
I was like, I'm gonna give them an hour and then I'm gonna get in there and drive. Gave them an hour, got in there and pulled around the corner. Boom. So they took the plates off the car and towed the car. He was like, I'm not even gonna take you back. But I am gonna impound the car. That was even worse. Because now they pulling away from my drug money in order to get my car to pound.
Stuff that we've
The
done,
things,
boy. Thank God for
yeah,
deliverance.
I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, when I look back on some of that stuff, I'm like, man, what was you thinking? And why did you think that they believed you? Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's Lord. I just feel like thank God for. I don't know how was I. I wouldn't pay for the insurance. I'll write a bad check to get insurance to go get the sticker. Just
Right.
I'm like, why was I doing that? I just don't know why I
Hmm.
was doing that. I
But
really,
back
really
then,
don't.
but back then it worked though.
It
It
did
worked. You
work.
gave him that check. You gave him that check. Boom. Insurance in effect. 12:01 midnight.
Now I don't.
But,
But I tell people
but
that if I don't pay any bill, I pay the insurance bill because boy, you're not gonna
look,
pull me over for
it,
that.
when I found out that my job was linked to this program where they take it straight out of your check, I want that. Yeah. Hook me up. I
Oh
signed up for
gosh.
that real quick. Yeah, take it out of my check and I don't even have to worry about paying it.
Yeah. But yeah. It was nice talking to
Yeah,
you and going back, thinking about
definitely.
some of the stuff. Yeah. It's definitely been a long time.
Definitely.
And I've been so far from that, so it's nice to go back and remember some of the things and how God brought me over and,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, he's done a great work in you. You definitely bless me. And once again, definitely proud of your growth. And
thank you.
please just keep being humble, keep being you. And we just pray that people continue to grow off
Yes.
of the vision that God gave you to create to help women.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you be safe out there and you enjoy the rest of your evening.
I
We
will.
will chat soon.
All right.
Okay.
You have a great afternoon.
All right. You too.